where we focus on helping you claim what's rightfully yours, your health, and your freedom. We explore the three main areas of health: the physical realm, the biochemical realm, and the mental and emotional realm. We also explore all the areas of lifestyle we can find that will help you live more abundantly, regardless of where you're starting. And remember, in life, you'll either make excuses or create results. You choose. I'm your host, Dr. Josh Hant, and I'm glad to be with you here today. Make sure to head on down to the show notes and click on the link to join our tribe of human-powered life heroes, where we'll update you on new shows, events, product launches, and so much more. Now, it's time to enjoy the show. Hey everyone, Dr. Josh Hant here, and I'm doing a live episode of the Human Powered Life podcast. This is episode 11. The Penguin Movement for Recovery. And I want to take you on this little journey. As many of you know, I did this crazy ultra marathon this past weekend in the extreme heat, right? We were pushing temperatures over 100 degrees with the heat index. So I want to just take you back from the beginning to share how this started, how this happened, and why I actually did this event. Even though it was not a race, it was still an ultra marathon. So weeks and weeks back, maybe a couple months back, I had the opportunity to interview Charlie Engle. And for those of you that don't know who Charlie Engle is, he is an amazing human being. He is an ultra marathoner. This guy has run across the Sahara Desert. And how I found him is I got this new treadmill at home in the winter, and I was running when it was, poor weather outside, and I like to listen to audiobooks sometimes when I run. And I found this book called Running Man. I'm like, wow, I have not listened to that episode or that book, yet. So what I decided to do was get the audiobook and start listening. And I ended up running a marathon while listening to Charlie's book. And I go, wow, this is not necessarily a book about running. This is a book about life. This is almost a personal growth, personal health book. So I'd encourage everybody, runner or not, get the book Running Man. It's absolutely phenomenal. So I get off the treadmill, finish my marathon, and I end up messaging Charlie on Instagram and say, hey, I'm inspired, blah, 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 blah. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I have a new show called the Human Powered Life Podcast, and I'd love for you to be on it. You are a perfect fit. You embody the human powered life. So he responded. I was blown away because I've sent many messages to many people, and not everybody really responds. And that's okay. That's, part of the game here. So he responded. We get him on the show, have an amazing interview. And as we're finishing up the interview, he asks me, he goes, hey, would you want to do an ultramarathon? I'm actually doing an event called the Penguin Movement for Recovery, which is a 30-hour ultramarathon in Maryland. And it actually is a fundraiser. Do you want to do it with me? I'm like, how could I say no? So I said yes. I got myself signed up, and here we are today, a week out after the Penguin Movement for Recovery Ultramarathon. The great news is I was able to raise just under $1,000 to donate to research, to donate to the help that this Ashley Treatment Center is doing to help people that are suffering from addiction from all sorts of different things. So the event went amazing. So I'm going to take you back again. So as I'm signed up for this, I actually had already registered for another ultra, which is a 12-hour ultra marathon around this place called Rockland Lake State Park. It's a 2.9-mile loop, and it's the person that finishes the most loops wins. And this was an actual race, right? It's tracked and all this stuff. So I get to this race. I have some new shoes that I've been training with, some new ultras. And for those of you that are watching the video, you can actually see behind me to my left there, I have a few boxes of those sneakers there, right? I have lots of new shoes ready and thrown into the lineup because I go through lots of shoes fairly quickly. So I go through the event. Long story short, I go out of the gate way too hot, and life happens. So what I ended up doing, I ended up finishing at 57 miles in that 12-hour mark, which I thought was really good for myself personally. very challenging because probably about mile 20 or 30, my feet were killing me, and I ended up having two blisters that I didn't know about. And I was blaming on new shoes, whatever it may have been, but I also had some digestive troubles. And nonetheless, at the end, I ended up coming in second place on the Ultra for men under 50. And I know that sounds scary because when you're listening to this on the actual audio version, you'll know that I just turned 43. So holy cow, men under 50, that sounds crazy. But I came in second place, which was the highest finish I've ever had in an ultra marathon. I was super pumped, super excited about it. And handful of weeks later, I'm here at the Penguin. And on my way out, a good friend, Dr. Don Sigafus, a chiropractor, he's like, hey, I saw on social media you're doing this event. You could stay at my place. I live like 10 minutes away. I'm like, okay, great. And I had a hotel, and I'll give you the 30-second story in that hotel. So I went to show up at this hotel. I didn't realize I booked it in a bad neighborhood. It was inexpensive. I'm like, I'm not going to spend an overnight in it and be done. And yeah, I get in. They give me a room, like, holy shit. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So I took all my stuff, called the hotel company and complained. I got my money back. I ain't never staying in one of those again, especially in a neighborhood like we had. So I end up calling Don and saying, hey, I'm going to take you up on that offer. I know I said, I got a hotel, no big deal. So grateful I did. He lives on the water, beautiful home. And we got to, eat some good dinner. I like to always have like beans and rice. And I actually had some steak that night before the race, which I normally wouldn't do until the recent past. And I'm all for it now. So I had some great food. I figured I'd get a good night's sleep, and you're all amped up, before an event. So he's like, I'm like, do you want to watch a cool documentary? So we watched a little bit of 50-50-50, which is about a guy who did 50 Ironmans in 50 days in 50 different states. So I watched some of it. I'm like, listen, I got to go to bed. Get to bed reasonably early. Figured I'd like, let me sleep as late as I can because the thing starts at 11. And of course, I'm up at 6 a.m., ready to charge and going, crap, I wish I could just sleep. Have my water, chug tons of water, have some coffee, get my gear organized, get my stuff out of the fridge, the coconut water, all of the stuff that I had with me for the event, because I know it was going to be, we're going to have these aid stations, but I do definitely like my specific things, to help me out. And recognizing that the temperature was going to be in excess of 100 plus degrees both days. So we essentially be starting at almost 100 degrees. And I ended up going, show up at the event, have my cooler loaded with ice, with all my stuff I need, the food, the snacks, so on and so forth. And I'm standing outside the tent as I have speakers talking about the event, giving us the warnings. Hey, listen, it's extremely hot. Make sure you hydrate, the signs of heat stroke, all of these things. And I'm just standing in my compression shorts, no shirt on, ready to go, dripping wet like I just finished a marathon. And I haven't even started. So we start the event. It's a great event. I ended up putting a shirt on because I figured the sun's going to be pretty gnarly. We had itty bits of shade for, a quarter mile of the course or a half mile of the course. It was a 2.2 mile loop, to give you an idea. So we were doing this for 30 hours. And, I knew Charlie, met him in person a little bit before. He was in New York City doing an event. So I met him in New York, then again on this day. And granted, he is the superstar. That had a good turnout, especially for a hot day in that first day. And there were about 20 or 25 people, I believe. I'm maybe not sure exactly how many that were doing the overnight event. So as we get going, I'm hydrating. I'm doing all the things I should be doing. And, having snacks, getting my calories in, because I know with the heat, you're going to burn more, but your body's processing everything, right? You're losing water so fast. So you really got to stay on the water intake and caloric intake on these types of events. So I'm going, get to meet some amazing people. I'm going to grab my phone here just to shout out some names here. And I apologize if I miss a bunch of you. I appreciate all of you. So who do we have here? So like Luke, Kelly, Hillary, John, Brendan, Alex, if I say John again, right? So we had some amazing people, and I had some of the greatest conversations listening to the people that were moving, that were sober, their stories of, going down this dark hole and coming out of the other end and inspiring people and taking control of their health and actually signing up to do an ultra marathon. Granted, the 30-hour event is the anniversary of Charlie Engel's sobriety, right? Like, so he's been sober for 30 years. So we decided to run 30 hours and use it as a fundraiser event, which is a great cause. So all these people, it really inspired me. So we were trucking along, and I realized after maybe about mile 10 or 12 or 15 or whatever it was, I'm like, you know what? My pace is a little fast. This is not a race, and it's freaking hot outside. So I better, pace myself. And in ultras, you're definitely not running the whole time, and that's for sure. It's about movement. It's about consistency. And for me, I'm not the world's fastest guy on my feet, but I know I can charge forward under most circumstances. And I was able to do that. So as we go through and having these amazing conversations, it becomes late at night. I'm unable to really keep food down. Like even during the day, I'm having my snacks. I having to run to the porta potties. I wasn't throwing up, and I knew I was starting to potentially have some signs of like very mild heat stroke. My headspace was with me. I wasn't dizzy. I wasn't lightheaded. So what ended up happening, it actually happened in the evening, late evening. My feet were brutal, were killed. I mean, it felt like I was, the easiest description is for hours and hours and hours, maybe like already 12 of these hours, I felt like I was walking on jellyfish and getting stung with every step. And I knew there were blisters. I knew where these things were going on. So maybe it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I decided, hey, I'm going to change out my socks and shoes, which I never, ever do during an ultra. It's just me. I don't like to take my shoes off because I figured I'd never start up again if I sat down and took my shoes off, or maybe not even be able to get up off the ground, right? So as we go through, I'm like, let me stop my truck. I change my shoes and socks and go, holy crap, I have 2 gnarly blisters, the same exact blisters that I had from my 57-mile ultra, weeks before. And it made me really think, I'm like, is it the shoes? Maybe it's the shoes. And I ended up realizing it's not the shoes, it's the socks I've been using. So my sock game definitely needs to get better. And I'll keep you guys all updated on the new sock brand. If they're good, I found a company. I'm not going to say them yet, but they guarantee no blisters. That's a big statement. So from a guy that puts a lot of miles on his feet every single week, and during events a lot more, let's see how well they work. And I'll keep you updated and tell you if I like them or not. Hey, we're giving you a short break here where you can head down to the show notes or lifestylelocker.com and join our tribe of human-powered life heroes. You'll be the first to know about new shows, events, product launches, affiliate specials, and more. And now, back to the show. So I changed my shoes actually and changed my socks. So I take, same brand, Ultra, which is that shoe brand that's behind me. And if you're watching the video, put on another pair of Ultras that probably have close to 700 miles on them. And, people are like, really? Why would you do that? I love them, right? They're my favorite running shoe that I have, and they're still functioning really, really well. But so I'm like, all right, I'm going to go. I start going a couple, like maybe another hour. I'm like, my feet are freaking killing me. I'm starting to feel a little like, I had to go do some business in the woods, and the only section of woods, thank God, that we had, because I wasn't able to keep my food down. I couldn't even eat. I had something called Justin's, like they're called nut butter. So I had this almond butter with maple syrup in it. Really good. I had a few of them earlier in the day, but at midnight, 1 o'clock, whatever that was, I couldn't even eat it. So I knew something was going on. I said, you know what? I'm going to just pull up to my truck. I'm going to take a 20-minute nap and see if I can just get rid of this. I'm laying in the back of my truck, and this is the first time I've experienced this, and this is when I know something was definitely not kosher. One, I'm getting eaten alive by bugs and flies, and it's really annoying. So I decided to put a blanket. I have like this camping towel I throw over my body. I'm laying in the back of my pickup. It's got a cap on it. I'm hot as hell, and then I start to get cold and realize it's probably about 85 degrees outside, so it's not cold at all. I'm getting bitten alive. I say, F this. I throw the blanket off me. I get out of the truck. I'm like, all right, I just got to move. I can't do this. And once I got out of my truck without the blanket on, I have, a cutoff t-shirt on and my compression pants and shorts or whatever it may be. I never took my shoes off at this point while I was napping, and I just start jackhammering. For those of you that don't know what that is, my whole body was going into convulsions like I was freezing at 85 degrees. So I take a running jacket out, throw it on, and I'm like, I just need to move. Something's not right. I just need to move. So I run over to the aid station, which is about, 200 feet from my truck, grab some electrolytes, some water, chug them. I'm like, if I can't keep this down, I'm done. But if I keep it down, I'm going to have some more, and then I'm going to keep going. So I was able to chug a bunch of electrolytes, and then I just started moving again. So here we are, like 2 o'clock or 1:30, quarter to 2 in the morning, I get moving again. Then I start to have those same sensations like, oh, am I going to be able to keep food down? I couldn't really eat much, but I was able to drink water. And, this, I was diagnosed myself as having pre-heat stroke. And I decided, I said, screw this. Let me just go inside my truck, turn it on, turn the AC on, and see if I can get my body to cool down and just normalize a little bit, let that physiology start to change. So I get in my truck, I'm laying down in that front seat, or laying down as much as you can lay down, reclined in that front seat, and I crash literally for about 60 minutes. And I wake up, I hear Charlie talking behind my truck to a couple people, a couple other runners. I'm like, all right, there's my wake-up call. So I get out of the truck after they had just passed, and I start again. And now it's, sunrise is starting to happen. It's freaking stunning. It's beautiful. I just keep going. And more conversations during that next day. And I'm like, you know what? We might have some more time where it's going to be not 100 plus degrees, because I took a screenshot and shared it on social media. The weather the second day, because we're going till 5 p.m., the weather the second day was estimated to be at 107 with the heat index. So again, like running on the sun. It was funny, as we're running, it's starting. It must be like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm talking. I don't remember to who. Maybe it was Kelly, and if he's listening, he'll remember this. I go, do you guys want to know? And I think maybe in Luke as well. I'm like, you guys want to know what the temperature is going to be today? I checked it out. They're like, no. I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you what the temperature is, but it's probably going to be like scorched earth. And like, great. I'm like, well, we did it for a day. What's another day, right? So we end up, I got to fly in my podcast studio. If you can see that, is annoying me. Maybe it's a drone. No, nonetheless. So we get going, and I figured, it was going to be cool at least until maybe like 9:30, 10 o'clock. We might get a little bit of a break. Man, once that sun came out of the sky, from sleeping, once it hit like 8 o'clock, I think it felt like 85 plus or 90 degrees at this point. And it was brutal once again. So I look at my watch. I don't remember the time as we start going through the day. I'm able to eat. I eat a hamburger. I think it's my new superpower. And they were like good, thick, fat. They weren't like, these little patties. These were like almost homemade hamburgers. They were great from the catering company they had. Over like wood charcoal. It was freaking awesome burger to tell you the truth. So I had a burger. It was super thick. I think I had 2 of them actually over the course of that morning or afternoon. And we get going. I look at my watch. I'm like, wow, I'm at mile 65. I may be good. I may have to just tap out. Listen, I'm super happy. I'm taking a couple breaks to try to recover. And what I realized, what this one guy, Brendan, was doing, who's so determined to get to 100 miles. He didn't. He had the longest distance at 91 miles. So congrats, brother. That was freaking awesome. Amazing effort. He had the most out of all the distance out of everybody. And so he ends up going. He's going. And what he started doing is he found like a semi-shaded section close to the race area, like the big tent that had the food, the drinks, the hydration, cooling towels, a misting station, all this stuff. So he just was going back and forth, probably about like, may have been only like a quarter mile each way, maybe a little bit more, and just doing all his miles right there. Because what he would do, he'd get his hat, dunk it in the ice water, put it back on, keep going. I'm like, what, this guy's got a great idea. Learn from other athletes, right? So I'm going back and forth, sticking my head in this ice bucket, throwing water on myself, drinking every time I go past this little station, and doing the same thing every half a mile. And I end up doing it until the end. Literally like minutes before the end, maybe 5 or 6 minutes, I take that last break. I'm like, you know what? I'm at 65. Screw it. I think I can get to 75 miles. I know it seems like a long shot. So I end up doing another 10 miles after I thought I was really going to tap out, and cranked through. Pretty crazy. And what I realized, and I know it's a big head game, and I know I've listened to David Goggins, his book a bunch of times, Cameron Haynes' new book, lots of these ultra runners, these people that are super, super intense. It's all a head game, right? Like it's 90% mental and 10% in your head. I think Charlie has said that to me. And, so I'm like, let me see if I can trot a little bit. I got to make up some time here. Maybe if I can get 75, great. 70 is a great number. So I end up trotting. I'm like, holy cow, it's easier for me to have this slow trot, like slow ass run, if you will, than it is to walk on my blisters. So however that worked, I have no idea. different muscle groups, I guess, from all the walking I did. So I started trotting, and I was able to do it. And I ended up getting to 75.25 miles, just under 75.23 to be precise, based on my GPS. And man, it was freaking awesome. I was super pumped to come across that finish line, or the finale, if you will, with Charlie, with the whole group. We had everybody organized right before we came across, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And some of the great lessons I learned for myself is, again, it's a head game, right? Everything we do is a head game. And then it becomes like almost like a spiritual type experience, but it's definitely a head game. And I can tell you, for me personally, maybe not everybody, I don't mind doing stuff in by myself. I'm a distance runner, and I end up doing most of it myself. But I found, felt a lot of comfort and inspiration being around so many of the people, or all of the people, I should say, not some, all of the people have inspired me that I was moving with. Whether it was, a non-sober person, like there were a few that were running at night, and then the sober people as well. I don't mean sober like they were drinking during the event. I mean the people that have, beat their addiction, and those that don't have an issue with addiction. I learned so much from everybody, and I think the connections made it much more powerful for me to keep charging forward. I was doing it for a bigger cause. I was with my tribe of crazy people. Like, why are we doing this? It's 100+ degrees. We're doing this for 30 hours. You're all nuts, right? So it was great to be with the tribe of people. It inspired me to charge forward. And being that it wasn't a race, it made it, I'm always very competitive. I did want to get those miles in, and that was more for myself than anybody else. But I will tell you this, that being around others that are inspiring themselves to get better, to be better, to push the limits of the human potential that they have, to do what we did, for all of us to completed those 30 hours, whether you did 50 miles or you did 91, or even if you did a marathon, that is huge. That is a massive amount of consistency. And I hope all of you that have done it, and those that you're listening or watching, are inspired, are completely inspired to do more with your health, with your life, and realize that, holy cow, if I can do this, or if I hear about someone doing this, what really is my true potential? What are my excuses? And, just to bring my practice into this, I had a conversation with my practice, with parts of my team the other day, and I said, there are either results or there are excuses. Okay? You got to decide how you want to have them. Listen, I had the result of 75 miles. I learned a lot. Made some amazing connections, met some really amazing inspirational people, and learned a little bit more about me as an ultra runner. Like, I really need to get my sock game done. That's like a huge piece of the puzzle, because I do believe if I didn't have those blisters that felt like I was walking on jellyfish for half the freaking time or more, that I probably would have done more mileage. I wouldn't have been in as much pain or discomfort for something that's controllable, right? And the cool thing is that with all my training, I think I'm like 65 or 66 or 67, something like that, days consistently running without missing a day, even after this ultra. And the last one, I haven't missed a day. So I realized that my legs were not sore. I was not uncomfortable days after. Usually it's like that 2-day mark. You're like, oh, my calves, my quad, whatever it was. I had nothing. I mean, some mild soreness, nothing that would break me down. So I can tell you this, and listen, I'm not like an overnight success in running, and I'm not a pro runner, but I can tell you that putting the reps in, whether it's, in your chiropractic adjustments, whether it's in drinking water, whether it's in going for a walk every single day of the week, whether it's going for runs, whether it's training, whether it's brushing your teeth, right? For God's sake. So doing things consistently, will get you the best results, right? And not being afraid to pivot, and not being afraid to say, hey, listen, I didn't fail. I had a learning experience, and what do I need to do different for next time? I think that's very powerful. That's very, very powerful. So that's my takeaway from this. And I hope all of you, listening to my story, my journey over this 30-hour event may inspire you to do a little bit more, may inspire you to move your body a little more. Because I can tell you this, that one of the best ways to connect to your psychology and help push your psychology in a healthier, better way moving forward is to move, right? And to move. And here, I saw mentioning moving forward. One of the gentlemen that was at the event actually did a 100-mile ultra marathon for charity. I think he raised something like $150,000, not for the one we were just doing. He ran them backwards. So I decided to give it a shot anyway. I'm like, maybe I can run like, a straight stretch backwards. I get dizzy, feeling weird. I'm like, holy cow, this guy is, amazing. Like, if this guy can do this for a greater cause, I'm like, what are our potentials? What do we have inside of us that we don't know? So my superpowers for me getting better and my consistency are my daily chiropractic adjustments. One thing I've been doing recently that has made a huge impact on me. That fly, how did he get in here? Sorry, for those of you who are listening, there's a fly buzzing around a little bit. I've been started doing raw, grass-fed, grass-finished beef liver every single day. And I just took a break this past week. I just started taking Tribe vitamins. For those of you who haven't checked them out, check out tribevitamins.com. It's organic, grass-fed, finished bison liver. It's one ingredient. The testimonials about this company are amazing. And you're going to be able to hear an episode with the creator, Daniel Eisenman, down the road. So I've been doing that. I've also done a ton of standard process. I'm very grateful for them to support me through a lot of my distance running over the past 2 years with the supplementation. I'm looking forward eventually to getting back with them to actually get some more blood work done and get a full workup to see how well my training is done, but how well supplementing my nutrition with whole food-based nutrition is actually helping. So those are things I do every single day. Nutrition, sleep, good water, good nutrition. I like to smile and have fun, but I never miss a day. Even if I feel like crap, I will go for a run. Even if I feel like crap, I will tell my wife I love her. Even if I feel like crap, I will show up and take care of people because there is a bigger cause. My headache or my, sore legs or whatever it may be that week or that month is minuscule. I do listen to my body and do take care of it, but I tell you what, doing things for a higher purpose definitely make things a whole lot easier because you want to make the changes in your life, but as well as others. So again, Dr. Josh Hant, I appreciate all of you for listening, watching, however you're actually digesting this. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode, which will be an interview. You're not going to deal with me solo again unless you really want to. I'll probably drop some of these as we go through the year. So I appreciate you all. Have a beautiful day, evening, or night from wherever you're watching and or listening. I'll see you all soon. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Human Powered Life podcast. Make sure to head over to lifestylelocker.com to check out all the details on the show and to watch part 2 of this episode, which is only in video format. We also have this audio portion in video format if you want. Once again, I'm your host, Dr. Josh Hant, for the Human Powered Life podcast, and I'm looking forward to staying connected with you as a Human Powered Life hero. Remember to join the tribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.